necessary. Have you ever tried this one? I know you say like the box water. Have you ever tried this one?
I
Just
have.
water.
Is that the Jaden Smith?
I was so surprised because I've been buying these for a while. Jaden Smith,
Yeah, it's his.
you smart bitch.
I
Done
thought
it
that.
again.
I am, I have my Kelly Green, the
Miss
dumbest cup in the
Kelly.
world. Yeah, I literally, when I go to my friends down the street, I put this in a bag. I can't be seen with it.
You're like, I can't take the judgment. I'm gonna hide my
Truly.
shame.
So one of my first jobs ever, I worked at a store. I worked for a plumber and watcher store. And I learned about reverse osmosis because that was one of the things that we sold. Reverse osmosis, it uses lights, it uses filtration, a whole lot of things. You can get an RO system on your own sink. Back then they were like $700. Now they're probably upwards of $1,000.
Wow.
But like Aquafina, I think Dasani, Dasni, like I think those are all RO water systems.
Yeah.
So they just use tap water.
Yeah.
And then they run it through their RO system. I think does it like 8 times. I don't know how much Dasni does, but I remember like
Once.
Aquafina does it. Yeah. Once. And then they put those Coca-Cola chemicals in there,
Yes,
honey, and we get addicted.
They put salt in that shit.
Give me the electrodes. Give me the electrodes. Give me the lights. So like Aquafina. So like if you're buying Aquafina, you're buying literally clean water, but it's just tap water. It's not from a particular source. But it filters through 8 times, so it's like ultra clean. That is why it tastes like that, because it's just clean as fuck. And if you get an RO system on top of attached to your sink, you will have water bottle tasting water every single time.
I'm here for that.
And it uses the lights, so like it's kind of like the way we used to explain it is like with a filter, if you get water and sugar and you put the sugar in the water, but you don't stir it, you just leave the sugar in the water and you pour it in a filter, the filter will take the sugar out. But if you get sugar and you stir it into the water so that it dissolves and you pour it into a filter, the sugar will not come out.
Right.
If you do it in an RO system,
it's the sugar out.
It'll take the sugar out.
Shut up.
So it's like the same thing with like organisms, because there's UV filtration as well as other filters. So like the UV light will kill those organisms, BB. Like the UV will massacre that bacteria. So an RO system. So that if you're really trying to get some clean, that is a surefire way.
I live for that. I would love that.
What a weird ass tangent. I don't even know how we got in there. Welcome to work. Welcome, honey. We took a break.
We broke, honey.
We took a break. I love that we took a break back when like people are working, and now that we're getting towards the end of the year where people are taking breaks,
we're back.
We get back into these podcast waves.
Yep, we do. We want.
We didn't super announce the break ahead of taking it. We announced it like right after we realized we're just gonna take a break. Life gets hard.
Like I can't. Bye.
Things just toss and tussle and tizzle tassel. But once we did decide to take a break for rest, Michelle, how have you been? How has your break been for you?
My break has been good. I got really into a new TV show.
What is it?
From. It's called From.
It's called From.
Okay, so it's similar to Lost, right?
Okay.
So there's this place. We don't know these people. So we start off with a family. They're going on a vacation. They're in an RV. Okay. They get to a point where they come across a tree in the road. Okay. And they're like, what the fuck? They can't get around it. They can't cross. So they're like, okay, well, double back, take another road, and try to get back around. They try it. They're going in circles.
We just ended back at this tree.
It's just nothing. It's happening. And they're passing by a little town. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? So it's getting to be, it's close to sundown. The people in the town, there's like 2 guys. They throw out a spike strip, bust their tires. They have an accident, go off the road, RV flips. The people who, threw down the spike strip, go down into the little ravine where they ended up, try to make sure everybody's okay, got everybody out. there were two kids. There's the parents, and then they have two children. The little boy is injured and he can't be moved, so they have to bring people there. So they tell these people, they're like, now listen, it's getting dark. We ain't gonna be able to move this boy. One of the parents, you're gonna have to stay here with this boy. I'm gonna take the daughter and whoever else, whichever parent doesn't want to stay here, you're gonna have to go somewhere else because you cannot be outside at night here.
Then why did you break my car?
Bad things happen at night. And so they were like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They're like, we have somebody that can help him. We have a doctor. We'll all come. We'll stay here. So the dad decides to stay, and you get to see what happens at night there. Like zombies come out, and they have to have like these talismans in the windows. So they put one in the window of the RV, keeps them safe. They're like knocking at the windows. They're looking in. You just can't open your doors or windows. If you have the little talisman and everything is closed up, no one lets them in, you're safe. But if you're out, they can get you. So that's why they broke their tires, so they won't be stuck on the road, exposed with no safety. So they did that so they'd be able to help them, because they're just going to keep driving in a circle until these things got them. And that's how it starts. So it's like a town of people. There's like these zombie people that come out at night. They look like they're from like the 1960s. That's how they're dressed. And they just look fucking deranged. They're like, why don't you let me? Yeah, for sure. Beautiful A-line skirts and insanity in their eyes.
Give me a pencil. Give me a pencil.
There was one guy that's like a milkman. Like, hey, why don't you open the door?
Oh, like they talk.
They talk. They're not like, oh, zombies. They're like, they just look like old-timey people. And they'll be like, hey, open the door, let me in. Oh, I can't hear you. Why don't you come on out and talk to me? Like anything to try to coax people to come. It's a whole thing. I watched like 3 seasons in like 2 weeks. It was a whole situation. The drama is just so good. It's exquisite. Yeah, y'all should check it out.
What's it on?
It's on MGM Plus.
Oh God.
You can get a free week and power through it, which is what I did.
A free week?
Yeah, I was like, honey, I had the time, so I was like,
how much is MGM Plus?
Now, baby, listen, they're not playing those little $3.99, $4.99 prices. I think she's $23.99.
What the fuck is on MGM Plus?
I don't know. I've never looked at it. I'm just like, take me to my show.
So you had to buy in. You had to buy into the front.
Yeah, I had to.
Am I watching anything? I'm watching. There's a current Real Housewives of Salt Lake City out.
How are you feeling?
I don't like Bronwyn.
There's
someone named Bronwyn, and I don't like her.
She's raggedy.
I don't think she's raggedy. I think I could like her. The problem is that you can see her play the game.
You're not good at it then, if we can see it.
You can see her play the game. And now, granted, that show has kind of taken a meta turn where, like, you can see, like, they're very aware that they're making a show.
Right.
But they do it in a way that is, like, fine. But then you get someone like Bronwyn, who I haven't seen the reboot of The Real Housewives of New York City because it's not my business what goes on there. Right. But it's just not for me. But like, I think the issue with that is like you have these well-established people that are then going into a forum where you're supposed to just rip each other to shreds and look ridiculous. And we're supposed to like you in this instance, but hate you in that one. Right. That is why we watch the show.
Right.
And you get these people who are too sparkling, clean, and perfect.
And it's like, why am I here?
It's boring to watch. Like, yeah, you spend a lot of money on your clothes, but honestly, I thought that heart dress was ugly and not fashion. And you wore a hot dog to a bar.
What?
I guess Moschino, I think, made a hot dog.
Girl, please.
And she was like, it's a dress. And
I know
like,
it's not.
It's a hot dog suit. Yeah. It's a multi-$1,000 hot dog suit. But it's
your
still...
Oscar Mayer waiter all day.
Oscar is what we're going to call you from now on. So anyway, so I don't love Bronwyn or really any of the other new people, but also from a season like last season, which if you know, if you don't, I will tell you to go find out. because I could explain it, but it would ruin the good time.
Wow.
I don't know how you bounce back from a season like that. And as long as Heather Gay is on, Heather, Meredith, and Lisa, as long as they're on there, and Mary, I'll continue to watch. Whitney, I don't need you to. Anyway, that's so that's what I've been watching. My fantasy football. Other than that, and then just working, I'm still overnight, but actively looking for opportunities off of the overnight schedule. My house is mostly no longer under construction.
Yay!
We're getting new floors on the first floor because of all the water damage from 2 years ago. There's so much water damage on the floors that we have to get new ones.
Wow.
So that still has to happen. But as far as my room goes, because my room just didn't have a wall, now the wall is there. Everything's painted. We just are missing the molding on the.
That's not bad.
I'll take it.
You can
Don't even put it in.
Don't even worry about it.
I don't even. It's my bed is covering it.
It's fine.
But yeah, so it's been a lot of just construction. Honey, welcome to Trader Joe's, Two Joe's.
Oof, let's get it.
Trader Joe's back in the habit.
Trader Joe's 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo Queens. We are going to do, so we did an episode last season about Trader Joe's, and we're going to go into that just a little bit more, just why it's such an issue. It's not only Trader Joe's that's doing this, but I think it is important to highlight Trader Joe's because it's viewed as such. I mean, everyone knows that it's obviously a big company, but it's viewed as such a small company because it paints itself to be your neighborhood small town grocery store.
For sure.
The stores are not very big. All of the branding is very like quaint and chic and cute. There's not a lot of big names in that store, so it can feel like it's a small store. And while it is technically a small size of a store with no parking,
never any parking.
They're taking your peace away from now 2 places, that parking lot and your rights as a worker.
Right.
Again, other companies, and it's important to highlight this one. So this is an article from the Huffington Post. The headline, Trader Joe's attorney argues National Labor Relations Board is unconstitutional. The tagline, a lawyer for the union says the company is aligning itself with right-wing ideologies who want to destroy ideologues with right-wing ideologues who want to destroy the regulatory state. This article was by Dave Jameson, originally posted, it was updated January 26, 2024. The article will be linked below in the episode notes. Basically, links to anything that we discuss are going to be linked below in those notes, so you can go and research that for yourself. People always say, like, do your own research. And I do think there is value in doing your own research, but it's important that you're using real, secure, trusted sources.
That's true.
Using the research that was provided by the professionals. Exploring both sides, but you need to make sure that both sides that you're exploring are from real, like, people.
Right. Don't just hop on Facebook.
Anyone can do anything. And so when people say do your own research, I'm like, well... also don't do your own if you're not a doctor, probably
be real,
probably
be honest.
We will be posting real sources in those episode notes. So okay, so Trader Joe's is facing a litany of union busting charges before the National Labor Relations Board. As has been discussed, I'm sure you've heard of this before. The agency's prosecutors have accused the company of illegally retaliating against workers, firing a union supporter, and spreading false information in an effort to chill an organizing campaign. But in a hearing last Tuesday, again, this would be in January earlier of this year, the groceries attorney briefly summarized a sweeping defense it intends to mount against the charges. The labor board itself, which was created during the New Deal, and has refereed private sector collective bargaining for nearly 90 years, is, quote, unconstitutional.
Crazy.
As I mentioned before, Trader Joe's isn't the only company trying to do this specific thing. SpaceX, Starbucks, and Amazon are some of the other heavy hitters. again, necessary to put Trader Joe's in that because we know SpaceX, Starbucks, and Amazon are just wells of money. And Trader Joe's is also a well of money. It just isn't, it's not painted to look that way because they're really good at their branding. So a little bit more background on what does the National Labor Relations Board do. The National Labor Relations Board is an independent federal agency vested with the power to safeguard employees' rights to organize and to determine whether to have unions as their bargaining representative. The agency also acts to prevent and remedy unfair labor practices committed by private sector employers and unions. So it's literally just a protection for the individual worker. One thing that I don't think we're going to talk about is, but this article does break down, is like if you're coming up some legal issues with your workplace, it's obviously better to open up a settlement case. It's likely that it'll work out in your favor. But as I have mentioned before, like I've worked for employers where like you don't get the job if you don't sign the arbitration waiver, which means you cannot open up a settlement case. You have to go to arbitration. And you're literally this one judge that is going to talk to their lawyer is going to make a decision, and that's it. The Labor Relations Board can help protect against things like that, though that is in itself not illegal, depending on how it's presented to you. Like Trader Joe's, SpaceX is represented by Morgan Lewis, which is a law firm. The firm is known for its management side work helping employers battle unions. Some of its highest profile attorneys came out of the National Labor Relations Board. So talk about working from the inside.
Seriously.
The National Labor Relations Board is an independent federal agency that was created to protect workers' rights and foster labor peace. It has both a prosecutorial office, which brings cases against employers and unions, and a 5-member board, which interprets the laws governing bargaining in the private sector. The agency's administrative law judges issue rulings that can be appealed to the 5-member board for review. So there's some kind of like checks and balances in there. The agency's constitutionality was upheld by the Supreme Court in 1937, 2 years after it was created. However, these days, the court's conservative supermajority has been chipping away at the regulatory state. In parentheses, SpaceX claims track with some of the arguments made in a case involving the Securities and Exchange Commission that's currently before the Supreme Court. And there's a link about that. So like National Labor Relations Board, obviously a big piece of what it does is it protects your right to unionize. Feel how you feel about unions. I have worked and had to be a part of unions before. For me, in my experience, for the most part, when I had to join those unions, it felt like I was just paying for something and not really getting any benefit out of it. And you have to pay, like those dues are deducted from your paycheck. And when I started, though, there were certain perks and protections that I did get off the bat that were because of that union. That union was founded to get those protections and those rights in place. So like, on the other hand, I am kind of a spoiled brat to be like, well, I actually didn't know anything worse than this. So like, and like SAG, I've been eligible to join SAG for probably 15 years now. It was like one of the first things that I did when I moved to LA. And like, I haven't joined because like the work just hasn't been consistent enough to warrant it being worth my money, essentially. Just because it's literally expensive to join that union. And I understand that people don't like them. I see both sides. I feel in my gut, my heart, my being that like everyone should have the right to be able to unionize.
Absolutely.
Period, point blank, end of story.
Absolutely.
And the only reason you can is because of this board, and these big companies are literally trying to rule it unconstitutional.
It makes no sense.
So that you will no longer have access to the right. Any thoughts?
I mean, it's a huge thing. Like I totally, it's wild to me that the idea of having power to speak up against, your own Goliath is seen as, it could ever be viewed as unconstitutional. It's a very crazy thing to me. It's like, it's one thing if you don't want to join one, if you don't want to be a part of one, but to take away other people. I mean, and it's like, it's the same fucking conversation we're having about so many different issues. It's like, you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it, but it don't mean it shouldn't be available to people who want to do it.
Yeah.
I like SAG is the only union I've been a part of, and I've had a really good experience. I enjoyed specifically working like as a performer. It's like you're very fucking vulnerable. You're very vulnerable, and it's like it's great to have something behind you, where it's like, okay, well then talk to them, sis, because you know what I mean. It's like to have backup. It's to have a voice in a situation where you could be easily silenced, and it's like it's very obvious who would benefit from that not being an option.
Mm-hmm.
The guys with all the damn money. So it's like, yeah, they're gonna do everything they can to try to crush this because it means that they can just do whatever they want. They can cut any corners that they want. They can make themselves like obscenely rich, and the people working for them will never see any of that,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be fine. So it's common sense to me that it just makes it's like the moral thing to have. It's like, why would you not want people to be able to get together, say, hey, you do the same thing I do. You understand what I go through because you're standing right next to me when I go through it. Why don't we get together and, say this is what we need in order to keep doing this job the way you want it done? And it just feels like no brainer to me.
Well, and it's just like unions like wouldn't need to exist if workers could like come together and be like, I feel like we need this to do our job better. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
boss and company, we actually do 5 times the work that we used to when you set the salary in place. So, like,
Right.
we need more money.
Mm-hmm.
Or something about the way the break policy is, or something about the way
Mm-hmm.
we can request PTO, or something about the way that my needs function in my life so that I can do my job better for you.
All right.
Can we look at that to make it better? And all these companies do is say no.
It's so crazy.
If you would come and say yes sometimes, people wouldn't need to unionize.
It's true. And if you had more interest in more than just the bottom line, if you had interest in people as humans, and you understood that when people are happier, they do better work. When people are happier, they don't quit. When people are happier, they're consistent. When people are happier, they're innovative when they're happy. Like it's like
Mhm.
all of that. Like it's wild to me how much of our humanity they want to strip away. They literally just want robots.
Mhm. Period. A little bit about the Trader Joe's union. So the link to this article I found on their website. There are so many other articles that are also on their website, as well as some like literal legal documents, which are like pretty juicy if you read them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to reference them because, again, do your own research. By the link in our bio using secure sources. But a little bit about the Trader Joe's union on Michelle's point. This is from their website directly. Why they organize. Trader Joe's has long had a reputation for being a progressive employer. But in the last decade, we've seen TJ's shift from a workplace that is truly an outlier in the industry with incredible pay, benefits, and
Mhm.
atmosphere to a company with increasing turnover, declining benefits, and stagnating wages. The pandemic put those changes into stark relief as quote essential workers everywhere, including Trader Joe's crew members, risk their health in order to bring home a paycheck. These two changes, the company's internal changes and the pandemic, made it clear that Trader Joe's workers needed a say in our workplace, and as a union, we have that voice. By unionizing, we hope to bring Trader Joe's back into alignment with its own core values, which had made it a great place to work and shop in the first place. So that's their statement
Mhm.
as far as why they unionize. There are some full reports on there. I'm going to give you just a couple of things that are there. On May 25th, 2023, there's a report in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The National Labor Relations Board found that Trader Joe's violated crew members' Section 7 rights by removing union literature from the store's break room.
Mm.
There was another one that isn't quoted here, but it talks about like how they reference their social media policy and how managers use it to go after some of their employees.
Mm.
May 26, 2023, in Louisville, Kentucky, The hearing officer recommends that all of the Trader Joe's objections to Louisville's store union election be overruled and recommends that the union be certified. Yes. There's another one that like got the certification July 7th, 2023 in Hadley, Massachusetts, which this Hadley store, that's the T. This is the one where they fired the employee and the judge was like, you have to bring him back. But the National Labor Relations Board finds merit in a number of unfair labor practice charges filed by TJU and Hadley, Massachusetts. The enforcement of a discriminatory uniform policy disallowing union pins, retaliation, interrogation, threats, captive audience meetings, and misrepresentation of the union. March 11, 2024, in Louisville, Kentucky, the National Labor Relations Board finds merit to charges that Trader Joe's illegally threatened and interrogated Louisville workers leading up to their vote and forced them to participate in one-on-one conversations with management designed to discourage union support.
Wow.
So like it's also happening on a smaller scale. And like if there's one thing that I have learned over the years, it's that management can get bonuses for presenting certain results.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's the case. I literally don't know if that's the case. I can't think of why management, other than just the hassle of unionizing, would do it. I'm not saying Trader Joe's in any capacity is offering bonuses for lack of unionization. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying what I have learned is that frequently there can be monetary compensation for manager furnishing certain results by their employees that the employees then have no idea that the manager is actually getting a financial kickback for certain things. Again, not saying that that's what's happening here, but saying that if you're trying to get some new email signups and you have a goal of email signups per day for whatever your company is, probably because someone's getting a monetary kickback off something like that. Separate point. All this to say that and more, you can go find those legal documents for those headlines that I just read. Yeah, again, more than just Trader Joe's is doing this, more than just those big ones, more than just the Starbucks, the Amazon, and the SpaceX are also doing it. You already know how I feel about the owner of SpaceX and all that bullshit. But
so some things you can do with the National Labor Relations Board. Conduct elections. If you wish to form or join a union, decertify an existing union, you can file an election petition. Please contact an information officer at your nearest regional office for assistance with that. So you can conduct your own elections. You can investigate charges. If you believe your NLRA rights have been violated, you may file a charge against an employer or labor organization. You can find charge forms on their website to get that going. You can facilitate settlements. The NLRB encourages parties to resolve cases by settlement rather than litigation whenever possible. In fact, more than 90% of meritorious unfair labor practices cases are settled by agreement at some point in the process, either through board settlement or a private agreement. I think that's fantastic. It decides cases when complaints of unfair labor practices issued by regional directors do not lead to settlement. They typically result in a hearing before an NLRB administrative law judge. As in any court proceeding, both parties prepare arguments and present evidence, witnesses, and experts. So it seems like a pretty regular sort of vibe, what you expect from a case there. And they enforce orders. In reviewing cases, the circuit courts evaluate the factual and legal basis for the board's order and decide after briefing or oral argument whether to enter a judicial decree commanding obedience to the order. The court may also enter an order on the grounds that the responding party failed to oppose or had no legal basis to oppose the board's action. So that's just a little bit of what they can do, what you can do with them, what they can do for you. Which is,
and if you can't afford a lawyer,
they got you.
And I'm not saying that there's not hoops to jump through to get that, and maybe the service isn't even that stellar, but like it's something.
For sure.
It's at least something. And they're trying to make that something not only hard to get, literally unconstitutional.
Impossible. Yeah.
They're just trying to take it away.
It's just crazy. It's wild to me. I don't understand. There's just some things in this world. It gets to a point where it's like I don't understand the opposition for this thing.
Like,
who are you?
How much money is it gonna take, bro?
You can't take it with you.
You
Do you
can't.
understand? There's only so many years you're going to be here, and no one can say it's going to be for sure the maximum amount. And you're just sitting here piling up money like you're Scrooge fucking McDuck or something. Like, what are you going to do?
What is it? Marie Osmond. You know Marie
Mm-hmm.
Osmond is. She is not going to leave any of her money to her kids.
Shut up.
She's donating it all.
That always pisses me off. It's just like, it's not even my money. Like, I'm nowhere near going to get anything, no matter what happens. But I'm just mad for them because it's like, bitch, what? They dealt with your ass this whole time, but now, okay.
Just getting a house?
It's so annoying.
One of the houses. I'll take the Vegas one.
It's such a rich people thing to do to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving it to charity or give it to the cat or something. Like,
all that bullshit.
I will fight everybody. Like, I hate that for them.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Trader Joe's, honey. You were my friend.
Seriously.
You were there for me in times.
We were all rooting for you, honey.
We were all rooting for you. Fighting in your parking lot for you.
For you. Like, you were there for me when I could not afford healthy food otherwise.
Period. And I was able to get some form of nutrition in my body at a price that was not unreasonable. It's not the Dollar Tree.
It's not. But it was like, I could work it out. It was still cheaper than I could do like at Ralph's.
Period.
And it was very delicious.
Yeah.
And I felt good about myself as a young person, being able to provide myself with nutritious food.
It was
nice. It was very nice.
Now you're just out here.
Acting up.
Taking advantage.
And I can tell you, like, it's such a weird, it's not like a total off the wall thing, but I can remember at one point I was in my 20s, looking for a job. I have really bad anxiety. Like, everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, I was literally, my therapist, she was like, you know where you should work? You should try Trader Joe's, because everyone there is always so happy. Everyone I know works there is talking about how great of a place it is. Like, literally, like, your healthcare professional. I was like, girl, you know what worked for you? You little anxious ass. Trader Joe's. Hey,
Trader Joe's got you.
You could tell how much it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
It was a fucking vibe back then. You would go in there, the music is playing, everybody's happy. You know, like, for the guys, it's like, all right, what's up? You know what I mean?
I know, you knew people. You knew people. You said hi by name. They said hi by name back.
It was such a good thing. Now it's like different people every time you go in there. Somebody's hoes on, and like, I'm not gonna talk to you. You don't feel like you want to talk. I'm good with that. Just go ahead, ring me up, and let's just get it going.
Do the thing. Trader Joe's, honey. Shall we hear from one of you?
Let's hear from the people. I've got a little story here, and let's get into it. It says, while attending university, I got a job working at a reception desk at one of the colleges at my school. It was part-time, sitting at the front desk, checking people in for meetings or interviews, answering phones, all of the things. I was one of like 6 people who did the job, and it seemed like a really tight-knit group. I loved this because I was new to the city and the school, and it was nice to not have to work to make friends. So it was easy. It was a vibe. One day I'm working at the desk with one of my teammates when he asks me if he can borrow some money. Now, not like just $5 or $10 to get a snack next door, but $80. I'm in college. $80 is a lot of money to me at this point. I'm not in college. $80 is a lot of money to me now.
$80 is certainly not nothing.
You're going to have to explain to me what we're doing.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
do I get some too?
What are we doing? How soon? I need all talk to me. Okay, so I take stock of the situation. I can tell my new colleague needs the money. I could see it on his face. I decide to oblige because we literally have the same job. He swears he'll pay me back, and I figured this to be the case because I know he has a job. LOL. This was, of course, not the case. I came in the next day to learn that he quit. Oh my God, he quit over the phone. Girl.
Ow.
He was gone, and so was my money that I really needed. I asked for a meeting with my boss, who said there's nothing that could be done. Whether it happened on work time or not, someone asked me for money and I gave it to them. It was not work related, so I wouldn't pay it back for me. So work wouldn't pay it back for me. My boss did recommended I speak to their boss if I wasn't satisfied, so I did. This boss apologized, but also iterated that nothing could be done. He then gave me a piece of advice I hold golden to this day. Don't lend anyone money if you're going to miss it. No matter how much they swear they'll pay you back, no matter what kind of insurance policy they furnish you, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Which is T.
T.
I don't lend money to people who I would not. If I can't just automatically say, okay, you could just keep it in the back of my mind, like it's gone.
Yeah.
And you can't have it.
Yeah.
I don't know you like that.
Mm-hmm.
If I wouldn't just let you have it, bitch, bye.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Good rule of thumb.
That sucks. They were a little baby and they were just trying to be like friendly and like
friendly. Honey.
Easy.
Don't lend the money if you can't if you're gonna miss it.
Yeah. It's real.
Don't do it.
Just don't.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
just don't let it happen.
Well, welcome back, Michelle.
Welcome back to you.
Welcome back, coworkers. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. It's fun.
Workplace comedy. Our podcast, Workplace Comedy, is a podcast created for entertainment purposes only. The article today, we didn't make it up. We found it. There's links in our bio below. Yeah. Anytime we're doing something we're not making it up, we'll put the link in our bio below so that you can go ahead and find the credible source.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can do your own research using credible sources.
There you go.
You can, if you have a story, you can reach out to us, workplacecomedy@gmail.com, WERK Place Comedy. We're also on Instagram and TikTok at Workplace Comedy on Instagram with an E, Workplace Comedy Podcast on the TikTok with an E. I am at Sam Everett Baker. Michelle is at the Nicole Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Both Instagram and TikTok. The advice, honey, if you can't afford it, don't give it.
Don't give it. Just don't do it.
You're gonna miss it, don't give it. Honey, thank you for working.
Thank you for working.
Yeah.